Welcome to the Occupational Safety Leadership Podcast, episode number 35. And this is where we're going to talk about steel or composite toe boots. I started to go down this rabbit hole, and then I soon discovered that besides um, hot and cold for the steel, I really had nothing to add for this. So it's going to be a matter of comfort. But I wanted to talk about the testing. They both have to go through the same exact testing criteria. So let's go through a couple of these things here. So the reason why we want to do this, of course, is to properly assess the hazards in the workplace. So if you have a workplace where you have impact, you have crushing, um, those types of things for your foot, you definitely need steel-toed boots or even that metatarsal support over the top part then for impact. So once again, it really depends on the hazards over at your workplace then. So steel toe boots are generally, for me, I'm going to say for me, not very comfortable to wear. So obviously I only wear them when I need to wear them. But I know that other places, you just don't have that flexibility to stop and put on steel toe boots when you need to. So some workplaces have a very low potential for this, but you will wear these all day, 24/7. I shouldn't say that. You wear them for your work shift. Nobody's working 24/7. But let's go over a couple of the testing standards then. So they are now tested by the American Society for Testing Materials, and the standard is going to be ASTM F2413. So I did not know that the standard replaced the old ANSI Z41 standard back about 2017. So when I buy steel-toed boots, I've been told that they were, tested to the right standards, like dot. But I never actually sat down and looked at what were those standards out there because I've been doing this for 30 some years. I just assumed that it was the anti-standard still. So we do see a little bit of changes in the future, and of course how they sit down and they label these boots then. So the ASTM F2413-18, and the 18 was the year that the standard came out then. The big thing they're looking for is that you have to have the impact resistance and compression resistance, and then you can also have some additional test. These you can buy boots that only do the first two, or the additional test, of course, are going to be that metatarsal support, conductive protection, electrical hazard protection, static dissipative, puncture resistant, all those types of things, out there. And once again, when you go to buy these boots, it has to be labeled for exactly what you were looking for out there then. You can buy impact and compression only, and that's the baseline boot, of course, and then you could choose to have any of these things added on, or just have everything added on, like right from the get-go then. So let's kind of break down exactly what this testing is. Under the old standard, of course, you could sit down and say, well, I want boots um, under the old anti-standard to a 30, 50, or 75 pound force. Now everything is a impact test for impacts up to 75 pounds. Compression test, you could get them at different compression ratios. Now it is maxed out at the highest one at 2,500 pounds. And when we look at additional tests, that metatarsal support is also at 75 pounds. Back in the old days, you could kind of say, I want a 30, 50, or 75. So when we look at static dissipative, now you have three separate levels that you can choose: the SD10, SD35, and the SD100. And just like the name sounds, it's really what is tested to the megohms uh, that this boot or shoe, of course, is going to be rated for. 10 megohms, 35 megohms, and the SD100 to 100 megohms out there. Depends on your workplace. It depends on that kinds of things. I've worked in a lot of chemistry labs, and one of the big things that we also focus on, besides just safety and lab safety and all that stuff is that we always want to have static dissipative footwear as much as we possibly can. Then it really helps to stop any errant sparks or anything else from happening in the workplace out there. Um, so I found it to be a really educational session, was to really sit down and learn about the new testing standards. I was under the impression that the old testing standards were in effect still. So this was a fantastic learning opportunity for me. And that's it for episode number 35. We started to go down, I should say I started to go down the road of the do I want steel or composite toe? And that's what made me go back and check all the testing and see if there was a real difference out there. And what it really came down to for me was just a matter of temperature comfort. For me, I think steel toe boots are just a little bit colder in the winter, you know. Um, that's really what it came down to. When I really did my research, tried on a couple pairs, did a couple things, so, episode number 35 is complete. My name is Dr. David Ayers. Thank you for joining me and have a safe day.